Through this project, all of the children, no matter their ages, have learned about the crisis of our oceans. They've learned that by us insisting on eating sea bass when it's an endangered species is not smart. We didn't have environmental education when we grew up, and not many schools have it today. And as one of the children said, education is key. But we can, as adults, we can all do something. And the reason I did this project with kids to start a larger project was because I was at a conference called the World Ocean Network in France, and Jean-Michel Cousteau said something to me that I won't forget and inspired this. He said that in the European Union, they were trying to launch they launched a campaign for a seatbelt law for 3 years, and through all this money and billboards and television and radio ads, nothing happened. Those adults did not want to put their seatbelts on. Well, they targeted their campaign to teenagers. Within 3 months, the seatbelt law got passed. I've done a lot of work with kids, 10 years in New York when I was a professional artist. And I enjoyed it, but I don't have children of my own, so these are sort of vicarious children. But I didn't know the power of children, that all of you have such a power to inform your parents about environmental crises. And you can ask them to go to the websites that are about ocean conservation, and they can sign petitions. There are many organizations that are lobbying our government to protect the fishes around the world. And because fishes are a global problem, they don't live just here, they live in all of our oceans. It's a problem that brings us all together, and we have to work on it together, or we can't protect the fishes. So my hope was that Fishes Feed Us would become a low-cost global model. We're going to promote it as hard as we can on our website and get it out there as a potential curriculum to other schools around the world, encouraging artists in the classrooms to collaborate with scientists in the classrooms and get the message out by painting and drawing. But performance is a great way to get the whole body of the children. But also my hope was an intergenerational message that the children would pass on to their parents and their grandparents and their aunts and their uncles. We all have to ask the question, what can I do with my skills and my talents on behalf of our environment? The Fishes Feed Us is the answer to that question for me, but all of you have a role to play. So now, I would like to say to all of you kids, learn about what's happening to your environment. You're going to be inheriting this environment. Get mad, get educated, get involved. We need you to change this situation, okay? I'm counting on you. So talk to your parents and your grandparents and write them emails. I'd like to make some introductions. This will be very fast. I'd like no applause until the end if you feel moved to applaud. I would like to acknowledge our sponsor. I'd like to acknowledge people by them standing. We received seed sponsorship from Leonard Sonnenschein's new foundation called the Ocean Conservation for the Oceans Foundation. Of course, Art and Science Collaborations, my organization. I would like to give special thanks to my board president, Marcia Rudy, Jerry Spivak, who was responsible for getting one of our first partner organizations. Another board member who was responsible for the 8th graders doing their little animated fishes that'll be on our website, Meryl Meisler. I didn't know that you couldn't be an organization like ASCI with 18 years history and then go into the schools and do a project. You have to get somebody in the schools, and Meryl is a longtime teacher in New York City, so she made the connections for us. The United Nations Environment Program, of course, with the new director, Juanita Castano, who came and introduced us all. Thank you. And Mr. James Sneffen, who is the public outreach information officer who helped make this all possible. FISH Project, which stands for, an acronym for Fishes Improved for Sustainable Harvest, And USAID and the Philippines government under Sione Sia, she's an information education communications specialist. They designed our Fishes blog, and they are hosting our blog, and we hope to use the blog in the future for other communications between kids. The Institute for Collaborative Education, that's Merrill Meisel's school, they did the animations that can't be here. PS 124, Alice Hahn, the principal, took on the job of being my on-site coordinator for the performance. She worked tirelessly. Kochi Konther Asar is a World Children's Organization, and they started in Bangladesh, and their director is here, Mr. Hussein, right there. Thank you very much. They're our blog partner. The Coastal Resource Management Interpretive Center in Masbate City, the Philippines, they're a blog partner. They could not be here. The Marine Research Foundation of Asia in Malaysia, Sabah, Malaysia, they could not be here. The High School for Environmental Studies, they couldn't be here. They were taking tests today. And finally, our educational materials were given to us by Jean-Michel Cousteau's Ocean Future Society. So they were wonderful, and I went into the schools and showed this 20-minute DVD on the ocean reefs and what it means to us, and perhaps we'll find a cure for cancer and other research, medical science purposes, because the ocean, like our rainforests, hold the key to many medical solutions, I hope. So, thank you very much. I would like to now introduce Leonard Schonenschein, once again, President of the Conservation for the Oceans Foundation and the World Aquarium, and he is going to introduce a couple of environmental heroes today who will be honored at a luncheon that we're going to after this performance. And Leonard also is responsible for, all of you, the first thing you should do is go out and get one of these online, but we're also going to pass them out. It's called the Seafood Watch, a national guide, or you can get one if you live on the East Coast or West Coast. This tells you what seafood not to eat because they're endangered, okay? I personally don't eat animals anymore after doing this project. I love the ocean creatures. So anyway, Leonard, it's all yours, and thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you, Cynthia. The Conservation for the Oceans Foundation was formed in 2007. In 1989, we began through efforts that we researched throughout the Midwest and then the nation and then the world, how we can solve problems of our waterways and oceans. In 2002, the World Summit on Sustainable Development established the Oceans Initiatives, and we started answering those initiatives through conservation actions. And those actions were developed by thousands of people in our committee in approximately 80 countries. This year, in 2007, we started funding small projects. We have now funded over 20 projects, and these projects are in 50 countries, affecting millions of people. These projects are meant to save the planet, save the oceans, save each other, and save ourselves. We can do this by doing simple things like the Seafood Watch Card. We can also do this by inviting people to be heroes and recognize those heroes. We find that in every community that we studied, there's a great need for heroes. There's a great need for people to stand up and look at other people who are already standing in these fields.